Let's talk about lockdown damages. Let's talk about lockdown compensations. And let's talk about the fact that we are not going to get an apology from our politicians. Yes, the NHS bosses and our government and politicians are being forced to put some money on the side for lockdown damages and compensations. Yes, the NHS are now ready to spend money like there is no tomorrow. Thanks to Rishi Sunak, thanks to Jeremy Hunt, and thanks to all their predecessors who completely messed up the situation. Speaking of which, where is Matt Hancock? Why is Matt Hancock not being scrutinised over this current situation? Now, we all knew during the lockdown days that there will be bad consequences. There will definitely be negative consequences. Now the NHS and Rishi Sunak are being forced to put aside £1.3 billion just to manage the scandals and the current obviously chaotic situation with the compensations, because obviously now we've got so many new complaints coming in. We've got treatments being delayed, we're being cancelled, and there's a lot of misdiagnosis situations that go around the country with various hospitals and NHS centres. This was all according to an annual report that came from the NHS resolution, which deals with patients' disputes and shows that the health service anticipated it will need to pay out more than £1 billion this financial year. This is just for this year, by the way. Now, we've had a Check for Cancer organisation who've come out to actually talk about this. They've released a statement saying the negative impact of lockdown restrictions on other and time-critical conditions such as cancer and cardiovascular disease has been predicted since April 2020, weeks into the first lockdown, days into the first lockdown, with significant harm expected in many patients from delays to diagnosis and treatment. Yep. The fact that the NHS resolution has set aside £1.3 billion for future clinical negligence claims is an acknowledgement that the unintended consequences of lockdown restrictions will continue for some time and that these claims are likely to succeed. Absolutely spot on. And it's about time somebody actually is held accountable, because when you send the former health secretary to Australia to hang out with kangaroos and their balls and everything, this is not really accountability. When you're giving awards to the top health bureaucrats, from Chris Whitty to Patrick Vallance to Jenny Harris and all the others, and they're just going to get rewarded and say, well, we just need to give you another medal of honor. You become an OB, you become an MB, you become a knight, you become a lord, baroness, because that's how we handle accountability and scrutiny in this country these days. This is not how we do it. There needs to be an actual investigation, and the only inquiry that they've been talking about, which is happening, is an inquiry into the actual disease, an inquiry into why they didn't do lockdown sooner. We need an inquiry into the actual lockdown policies and the whole philosophy around it and the measures and who was behind it and why they did it and why they decided to actually ignore the external scientific advice and simply create an echo chamber and censorship and just tell everybody else that you're all liars. That's what they did. And when you had Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand coming on TV and saying, you will get your news from the state. We will be your source of information and you will believe us. Nobody said anything from the establishments. Now you're in this mess. The fight back starts now. Thank you so much for all the support. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Tousi and we are the media.